start and they're off. And Maxwell gets a cracker of a start. That's the best start he's had all season.
Looks like Herfoss has got this one. What a comeback after yesterday's race for those two guys.
Well, Herfoss takes the win by 0.2 of a second over Brian Starring.
It looks like he's got a problem. Waters with a problem. Oh, Falzon, that's Bayless. Bayless is down.
Hidden Valley Raceway. We welcome you to the capital city of the Northern Territory. It's round 4 here in sunny Darwin for the Yamaha Motor Finance Australian Superbike Championship presented by Motor. This picturesque city known for its Kakadu National Park, its crocs, its tropical climate and of course is host to this beautiful circuit. 2.87 kilometres in length, it has 14 corners, a 1.1 kilometre main straight and makes for some very fast racing and quick lap times. It's Josh Waters who holds that lap time, a 1:05.9, and he also got the clean sweep in 2017. Hello from Emma Francesco and Steve Martin. Welcome back to beautiful Darwin. Certainly one of the favourites on the calendar.
Well, it certainly is, especially at this time of the year when it's nice and hot up here. Most of the riders come from down south where it's freezing cold, so we love coming here.
As do I, so I'm very, very happy to be in this heat. Now it's getting to the pointy end of the championship. Great to see that it is so exciting and so competitive in all 3 categories.
Yeah, and we talk about the weather being hot, but I think the action on the track today is going to be awfully hot, scintillating in fact, so it's going to be a pretty good day.
Before we get into all of that racing action, let's get to know this track with our very own Steve Martin. This is Hidden Valley Raceway.
Hidden Valley. The track's not the longest, and it's definitely not the twistiest, but one thing's for sure, the racing here is action-packed. Our riders are hitting speeds of about 280, 290 kilometres an hour down the YMF straight. It's one of the longest in the country, and that means you need big brakes heading into turn 1, Motul corner here. There's a couple of different lines through this one. You can go tight or wide, but one thing's for sure, and imperative, you need good drive on the way out. It's a quick blast. Out of Motul corner, through the YMI, AGV flip-flop and into Pirelli, a place that's proven to be very controversial in the past. If you get it right though, you carry that speed through Pirelli, down into the YMF hairpin, defending your line. So this is the valley part of Hidden Valley. The tightest hairpin on the circuit. Hairpins are normally pretty easy, but not this one, it's quite tricky. You've got a couple of different lines, and then heading out on the Kawasaki straight here, the riders really struggle to keep that front wheel on the ground. The last sector here is like joining dots, flowing from ripple strip to ripple strip, through Suzuki and down into KTM, the final braking opportunity at this circuit. It's not all about the braking into KTM, it's also about the drive onto the straight. Some get it right and some get it wrong. If you do get through KTM okay though, it's all about keeping tucked in behind the screen, keeping your competitor behind you and getting over the finish line first.
Well, the temperature's starting to warm up here at Hidden Valley, and it certainly is down on the grid, down to M.
Just here with the beautiful Kim and Troy. You're beautiful too, Troy. Troy Bayliss, congratulations on that pole, mate. Can you get the win for this one?
Well, you know, I'm feeling pretty confident, and it's nice to be on, in pole position. It's great for our team and great for all of our supporters and sponsors. So, now we're just got to go out there and do a great job. It's quite blustery this morning, but we've had a bit of breeze all weekend, so it's pretty normal.
Your son Ollie actually got pole position yesterday. You know, he was telling me that he taught you a few tricks, right?
Yeah, so he says. He likes a bit of talk, I must say.
And Kim, I think that holiday in Europe was fantastic for this guy. Nice break.
Yeah, we might need more of them.
Thanks, mate. Good luck. Let's head over to Troy Herfoss, guys, who's sitting in second position. Troy, sorry, mate, I'm just going to jump in here with you. I know you didn't come here to finish second. The start's crucial for this one, hey?
Yeah, it will be crucial. Troy's got really good pace, and so does a lot of the other guys. So it's going to be an interesting race and a tight battle.
Good luck, mate.
Thank you.
And we'll head over to the guy on the Kawasaki, Brian Starling, who had a bit of an up and down weekend at the Bend. He had a podium, but then he also had a DNF. How are you feeling for this one, mate?
Yeah, good. We're on the front row, and we've had a really positive weekend up to this point. So, I guess we'll just wait and see how this race pans out. I know that we've got quite good pace at the end of the run, so we'll be looking to try and show that, show our strength at the end of the race, and see how that works out for us.
Good luck, mate. Boys.
Thanks, Em. Yes, the wind is picking up a fraction here. We can see some dust getting blown around down towards turn 1. And you can see those flags, Steve Martin. They're certainly starting to make it very easy to read the sponsors' signs on those flags on pit lane.
Yeah, Dale Breed there struggling to hang onto the umbrella.
Well, let's go back down to Emma.
Sorry, guys. I was just asking Josh if he felt like having a chat, because I know he's deep in concentration mode. Are you confident that the gremlins are off the bike?
I hope so. It's been a very tough two race meetings so far, so I love this circuit. I'm going to try my hardest in this one. That's all I can do.
Go get him.
Thanks.
And we'll just head up to Wayne Maxwell as well. Sorry, guys. It's just up here. Paul Rich is chasing me around the media grid. Actually, he's chatting to Braxy. We'll ditch that. We'll head on over to Daniel Falzon. He's certainly deep in concentration mode. He actually high-sided yesterday in one of those qualifying sessions. Daniel, how's the body feeling? Is it just a bruised ego, or are there bruises anywhere else?
Oh no, there's bruises all over the body. I woke up this morning feeling a little ginger, but after a couple of hours with the race safe crew, I'm feeling not too bad. And on the bike this morning in warm-up, I was pretty happy. So it's a long 18 laps, and we'll just play it safe. And yeah, I know what I need to do.
Good luck, mate.
Thanks.
And one more, we'll just grab Glenn Allerton if we can. He just missed out on a podium at the Bend. Oh no, Braxy's got him too. Braxy, you're taking all my guys. Let's jump in here with Marcus Kyoto. Marcus, certainly improving, mate. How are you feeling on the bike? How are you feeling for this one?
Yeah, I'm feeling confident, but it's going to be a long race for sure. So yeah, I'll just try and settle into a rhythm, get a good start, and yeah, see where I end up.
Good luck.
Thank you.
And one more, guys, privateer Matt Walters. I just wanted to check in with him, doing some side steps to get there. I just wanted to check in with Matty Walters. Sorry, Braxy, I'm just going to jump in very, very quickly. Matty Walters, you had some engines lying on your floor on Friday. Is everything fixed, bike ready to go?
Yeah, well,
we hope so.
We hope it's going to stay together. Look, we had a bit of a failure on Thursday, Arvo, so the old man had to put it back together. We had to steal some parts out of the other bike, and it was fairly messy there for a while, but it's all come back together. Everything's running fine, so we'll just go from there.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Boys, it is so hot down here. Back to you. For your Harlem, Steve Martin.
Thanks, Sam. Yes, Thursday afternoon was not good for Matt Walters, but you know what it proved? A bit of bush ingenuity there, that they were able to get that engine back together. And when they were actually telling people how they actually got the engine back together, a few people didn't actually believe them, that they didn't split the cases or anything, but they managed to take a piston out of another bike, Evan Bowles' bike that had failed, and get it into the engine without having to completely dismantle the engine. And that bike's been going incredibly well for the rest of the weekend, as has that man on screen, Jamie Stouffer. He's been going incredibly well as well.
Yeah, he has, hasn't he? He's really impressed the way that he's come back into the fray. Remember a couple of years ago, he was having a lot of big crashes when he was a factory Honda rider, and it was time to call it a day. He went away for a little bit of time, but he's back now and fully fit and stronger than ever. And you know what? I reckon he's going to take it more seriously race meeting by race meeting, and his results are just proving that at the moment.
Well, at the end of last year, Craig McMartin, they wanted to continue on this year. Bo Beaton decided that he didn't want to continue racing anymore. He's going to concentrate on the classic races, but he thought, We need to get a good rider that fits into their team. That's very important for the Craig McMartin Races Edge team. And Jamie Stauffer has been a perfect fit, a rider with a lot of experience. He's helped to develop the bike. And Craig and Greg and all the team down there doing a sensational job with Jamie. And the fact that he's up there on the third row of the grid and was very, very close to Daniel Falzon in getting onto the second row of the grid as well. So we get the thumbs up from Wayne Maxwell, who actually went faster in morning warm-up this morning than what he has for the entire weekend.
Yeah, did he get into the late fives?
Yeah.
I think he did, didn't he, in the morning warm-up?
And fives in morning warm-up that's a pretty good start to your Saturday or your Sunday.
Yeah, well, actually, like the fastest man in the morning warm-up was Troy Bayliss with a 5.7, which is the second fastest ever lap around this circuit after his pole of 5.6. So Bayliss, definitely the man to watch out there at the moment, but there's a lot of people that want to... Oh, look, Bayliss has got some sort of issue there. He's calling somebody over. Not the best moment for him. That's Paul Free. They're trying to sort something out there as they head off on the warm-up lap. Gee, he got lucky there, didn't he? That wouldn't have been the best start of the weekend. Brian Starring, we've got to talk about him too, don't we? Brian's on a mission this weekend.
Yeah, he certainly is. There's a couple of changes to the setup of that bike that's really helped Brian, and he's feeling pretty comfortable on the bike. I know that the Kawasaki BC Performance team has been working hard to try and just find a little bit more in the bike from yesterday as well, as they roar off down towards turn one. Right, the field now making their way through turn one on this last opportunity to make sure that everything is in order. See a couple of riders slowing right down there so that they're the last ones back to the grid. Troy Herfoss, I think Steve Martin appeared to be one of those on the Penrite Oils Honda.
Yeah, he's always a guy that tends to do that.
Kawasaki corner now. He's this massive field of 26 Superbikes all making their way up to the top end.
You know what, Phil, there's a lot of guys in this field that have had struggles and problems all throughout practice, but you know what, there's a hell of a lot of things that have come together for them, and although it looks like at the moment that Troy Bayliss is going to romp away with this, I don't think that's going to be the case.
Well, front row of the grid, we have Troy Bayliss starting from pole position with Troy Herfoss and Brian Starring on the outside of the front row of the grid. The second row of the grid will be Wayne Maxwell, Josh Waters and Daniel Falzon. And look out for the fast-starting Josh Waters. He'll be keen to make amends for what has been a difficult weekend so far. The third row of the grid, Jamie Stauffer, Glenn Allerton and Mark Chiodo. A very strong third row of the grid there. Fourth row of the grid, we've also got Matt Walters, who was knocking on the door of getting on that third row, right behind Mark Chiodo, and doing a good job there. And also Arthur Cecis and Glenn Scott making a return to the Australian Championship on row 4. Row 5 will be Kyle Buckley, Heath Griffin and... sorry, that just flicked over. It was Kyle Buckley, Lachlan Epps and Mitch Rees on board the Honda. So row 6 coming onto the grid now. We're ready for a start. The revs rise in Darwin. Can history be written once again in the Northern Territory? Troy Bayliss gets away. Great start from Brian Starring too from the front row of the grid as they come down. Arthur Cecis has also got a blinding start on board bike number 61 and will be well placed as they come through turn 1 for the first time. But it is Troy Bayliss that leads with, is that Josh Waters in second place. A great start on board the Suzuki X-Star machine.
Yeah, that was an incredible start by Josh Waters. Qualifying doesn't mean a thing now. Waters is where he needs to be. But look at Bayliss. He's already got a couple of bike lengths, but there's a gaggle of bikes there. Wayne Maxwell's there. Daniel Falzon's in that group too. We know how fast he can be around there. Maxwell up the inside into the hairpin, takes over third position, runs wide. And Brian Starring takes it right back as they head up Kawasaki Straight.
Yeah, Mark Chiodo has also got off to a great start on board bike number 30, sitting back in about 5th or 6th position. In fact, he may have just got the better of Daniel Falzon as well, so he's moved up into 5th, and Maxwell is looking very desperate to try and find his way past Brian Starring as they come through YMI corner and down the hill through Suzuki and into the KTM corner. And it's Josh Waters getting that great start. He wasn't fast off the line, but he was extremely fast into turn 1. And look at Troy Bayliss. He has got a very handy lead as they come round to complete the first of 18 laps.
Yeah, that's an incredible job by Troy Bayliss. He's already got nearly a second lead over the rest of the field. But how fast is that Kawasaki of Brian Starring? He's just nipped up the inside there. Marcus Kyoto just a bit wide into turn one there too, but Brian Starring takes over that second position at the moment. So brilliant job by him. A little faller. Someone's down in the background there. We'll let you know who that is in a minute. Not sure. I couldn't see the number on that bike, Phil. But Maxwell now up the inside.
Yeah, Maxwell up the inside, but Josh Waters went from second to fourth at the turn one at the start of that second lap. So it is Maxwell that's gone from fourth up to second and then back to third as Brian Starring moves his way. There is so much chopping and changing of positions there. And look at all of the riders starting to queue their way up. Herfoss looking pretty desperate on board bike number 17 as well in that group to try and find his way past. He did not get the best of starts. And that's what Emma said to him on the grid. That's what you need to do. And unfortunately, there we've got a red flag, which is stopped this race.
Okay, that's...
that will be that incident down there on the exit of turn two. It looked like a pretty heavy crash for one of those riders.
Yeah, I'm not sure who that could be. Jamie, is that 27? It's 94. I think it could be Mitch Rees down there on the edge of the track. He's had some sort of high side moment, so looks like we've got the race safe crew heading straight to him. So
there we go.
Good to see.
Have a look at a replay of that incident, but yeah, it was that's the end of it. You can't really see much because there's a lot of dust there, but it was in the tail of the main field as they made their way out onto that out of Modal and onto the YMI drive up towards AGV there.
The race safe team straight onto the scene, so that's really good to see the rider Mitch Rees getting the attention he needs straight away. But that means that we'll get everybody back onto the starting grid, Phil, for another restart.
Time to get into Superbikes race one. As the riders make their way back down to the grid now. It's a restarted race. Well, we saw history yesterday, Steve Martin, when Troy Bayliss became the oldest man to qualify on pole position, and also the first time I can remember a father and son scoring pole positions. Can we rewrite history once again? Troy Bayliss starts from pole position, Troy Herfoss from second, the revs rise, we're in the starter's hands and we're away. A great start, let's keep our eye on Brian Starring and also Josh Waters to see if they can replicate those great starts from race number one. There's Waters, Mark Chiato's got a great start, Nartha Cece's another blinder on board bike number 61 as they go down in towards turn one. It is Bayliss that leads.
Yeah, Josh Waters didn't get the same start he got in the first part of this race. Marcus Kyoto was right on the rear wheel of him, but it's Bayliss with Brian Starring now right on the back wheel. Bayliss with less of a lead than he had first time out. Starring looking up the inside, and there's Troy Herfoss. We didn't see much of him before.
Now he's got a much better start than what he did in the first one, Troy Herfoss. He'll be thankful for the red flag stoppage because he's now sitting in third position. Arthur Cece's in fourth. Then the first of the Suzuki X-Star machines, Josh Waters, back in fifth place, and his teammate Mark Chiato not too far behind. Glenn Allerton also pretty well placed off the start as well on board the Next Gen Motorsports BMW S1000RR.
But where's Wayne Maxwell? He was up there at the start in the first part of this race, but he's nowhere to be seen. He's back there. He's got a lot of work to do in sixth position at the moment. So both him, Daniel Falzon, as well as his teammate just behind him, a lot of work to do.
Yeah, as they make their way out onto the Yamaha Motor Finance straight for the first time. Bayliss leads as they come across the start-finish line. He had a 0.4 second lead over Brian Starring and Troy Herfoss, but the former teammates last year, so Herfoss and Starring, doing a great job on board their machines as they make their way through turn one to try and keep Troy Bayliss in sight and doing a much better job than what they did in the first start of this Superbike Race 1.
Yeah, Bayliss is super fast through that first sector, through Motul, up in the YMI corner and AGV into Pirelli. He really is the man to beat in that sector.
And speaking of that section of the track, Josh Waters has put a big move on Arthur Cece's and now is in fourth place. And you can tell the Mildurian's got his ears pinned back and trying to reel in this first group of three that had just started to break them away from the rest of the field.
Yeah, fastest man though on that first lap, 112.1 was Troy Bayliss, so a good opening lap by him.
A 112.1 from a standing start is a pretty good way to get your day underway. It looks like Glenn Allerton has also made a move past Daniel Falzon as well. So Allerton on 14, the three times Australian champion, up ahead now of the South Australian on board bike number 25 in his first year on board the factory Yamaha.
Yeah, it's really good to see Glenn Allerton coming back into the form with the Next Gen BMW team. He really is coming on song lap after lap, and he's made a move there. He is like you say, Phil, just up the inside into modal, leading now. We got someone wide there. Was that Marcus Kyoto a bit wide? Glenn Scott there as well in the back. Good to see Glenn back in the championship. He's fully fit now, not 80% fit like he has been for the last couple of years, Glenn Scott.
You know who's also got off to a pretty good start is Al Phillips, who's been struggling for most of the weekend. He's found his way up into the top 10. Him and both Mark Kyoto and Al Phillips having a pretty good battle at the moment. But Bayliss leads, but not by much, because we've got Brian Starring and Herfoss right behind.
Yeah, Phil, just caught up with Phil Tatum from the Team Suzuki Extra. We saw Josh get up to second position a little early on. They have given me the nod, A-OK. That bike is good to go.
It's good to see that you've got the thumbs up there from Team Suzuki. It's interesting to see the bike's A-OK, but he's not up in that leading group. There's a bit of a gap now back from Troy Herfoss to Josh Waters.
Well, Wayne Maxwell was in the slipstream of Josh Waters there, pulls out to the side, but I'm not sure there was that much difference in the top speeds there. It was only towards the very end of the straight that Maxwell was able to pull out of the slipstream of Josh Waters and force his way past.
The thing with this circuit, Phil, 1.1 kilometre long straight here, there's a lot of slipstream effect, especially at the end of that long straight. So he used that to really good effect and slipstreamed his way past. He got a good drive out, and you can see it here if you look in the background there. He's already pulled out and got on the brakes a little bit later as well. Wayne Maxwell makes the move past. Nice clean move into modal corner there. Takes a nice tight line on the entry of the corner as well, so there's no way that Josh Waters can nip up the inside. Then he also keeps it tight, although he's taken the wide line there to get good drive out of modal.
And of course that very distinctive style of Wayne Maxwell, he doesn't move his body around all that much on the bike, does he, compared to some of the other riders, especially the man out front. It was interesting watching down at turn 1 yesterday. Troy Bayliss' style is completely different to all of the new generation that are making their way through on the superbikes that are got the elbows down and the chins almost on the ground. Troy Bayliss, a very old school push it down sort of style, and at the moment it's working an absolute treat for the Desmo Sport Ducati rider as he continues to lead by 0.7 of a second over Brian Starring and Troy Herfoss.
Yeah, absolutely. He's doing a great job, isn't he? There's a few of the other guys out there. Matty Walters in that group as well. Good to see. Phil Chai's still out there, Adam Senior as well. Glenn Scott, Sloane Frost is there. Mitch Levy's having a good run there too, in 14th position at the moment.
Now, something must have happened to Matt Walters, because he's back in 20th position at the moment, and he's been knocking on the door of top 10 all weekend, so he's obviously had a problem or not got a good start in this first race, and making his way back through the field now. And also his fellow mechanic at Kawasaki Connection, Brad Swallow, is a couple of places ahead of him. That won't be good for bragging rights back in the workshop on Monday morning.
Well, Brad Swallow might find himself out the door if he's not careful.
Or a promotion.
A promotion, that's probably the way forward, isn't it?
Is that Allerton now right onto the back of Josh Waters as well? So Allerton is certainly on a charge here on bike number 14, the Next Gen Motorsports BMW, and that bike is certainly not slow in a straight line as they come onto the straight. Allerton pulls out of the slipstream as well. Can he find his way past? He does, and the bike looks pretty composed down in towards turn 1 as well. So Waters has gone back now to 6th position.
Well, Allerton was equal fastest with Troy Bayliss that last time through. He did his fastest lap, so Allerton is definitely a man on the move forward at the moment compared to Waters, but Waters seems to be just struggling a little bit with his lap time, doesn't he?
Yeah, and also not struggling with their lap times is Brian Starring and Troy Herfoss, who both put in their fastest laps of the race on that last lap, trying to keep Troy Bayliss in sight. But even though they put in their fastest laps, they were only doing the same lap times as the man that leads on board bike number 21, the Desmo Sport Ducati, the 3-time Superbike World Champion, Troy Bayliss.
Yeah, they have to do more than keep with him now. They've got to catch him because he's got a bit of a lead. He's out to just nearly a second, 0.8 of a second now, that lead. Once again, there's Glenn Allerton just making forward motion on the man with the number 1 machine on the Suzuki.
Well, and Falzon is also closing in now on Josh Waters and trying to find a way past. We saw that it was a pretty even match between this Team Suzuki X-Star machine and the Yamaha Racing Team R1 down the front straight. Bayliss, as he comes into that corner, he often takes that slightly wider line middle of the corner, but it doesn't seem to slow him down at all, and he gets great drive out of the corner as they come through YMI and up towards AGB.
Yeah, it looks like it's a flowing corner, but it's not. You dive in and then you tip out. There's a couple of the Kawasaki's. That's Matty Walters.
Yeah, workshop dominance has been resumed, and Matt Walters now ahead of his workmate Brad Swallow.
That's good to see. He's making his way forward. I feel a bit sorry for Matty Walters though, because he's obviously had some sort of issue and had to fight his way back through through the pack. But he's had a very rough weekend, hasn't he? A lot of mechanical issues that they've had to sort out with not, as you can imagine, not all the equipment you need this far away from home. But of course, the Matty Walters team, they're doing a great job.
Well, they actually thought on Thursday afternoon that the weekend was over for the Swan Insurance Superbike team, that they would be taking no further part in this race meeting. As we mentioned, a bit of bush engineering, and the bike is back on track and going well, and Matt Walters has actually worked his way back up now into 16th position.
That gap now still hovering around the 0.7, 0.8 of a second between Brian Starring and Troy Bayliss at the moment. So Bayliss is able to hang on there, but he can't do much about it.
Just looking at the lap times, Josh Waters' last lap was a 1:08 flat. So that's about probably 2 seconds off what we know that Josh Waters can do around this circuit. So it would appear that not all of the gremlins have been cured from the Team Suzuki X-Star machine. And the second of the Team Suzuki X-Star machines, Mark Kyoto on bike number 30, having a great battle here with Arthur Cecis on the very standard, as we heard with the chat with you earlier on, Steve Martin, Suzuki GSXR, that's still got the standard Suzuki suspension in it. That's two things. One, a great advertisement for the current state of superbikes that you can buy off the showroom floor, and a great advertisement for Arthur Cecis' riding ability.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt that he knows how to ride a motorcycle.
That's it. Down to you, Em.
Bit of an update on Jamie Stouffer, guys. He's all okay. I just spoke to his son Max, but he may possibly have a bit of a lower leg injury. Not sure if we'll see him for the next one.
Thanks, Em. Great to hear that Jamie is A-OK, and I'm sure he'll be cracking jokes down in the pits sometime very, very soon.
Yeah, and we wish him all the best, of course, and I mean, let's hope it's nothing too serious, because he is definitely on a roll at the moment, as is this young man, Mark Kyoto. He's really starting to come to grips with that, taking that wide line through Motul Corner as well, just so that they can get the good drive out of there through YMI and AGV flip-flop.
Yeah, well, Josh Waters back down to a 7.2 on that last lap, so there must have been a small problem on that last lap, but he's doing a good job now. Lachlan Eppes back into the pits on board bike number 183, so an early finish in Supersport, and it would appear to be an early finish in Superbike as well for the rider returning back from overseas.
Yeah, he's had to ride the whole weekend without any of his electronic aids working on that bike. It's a bike they just bought from the wreckers. Bit of a slide there from Bayliss. You just see that he really is starting to push, and guess what? That gap is coming down, Phil.
Yeah, on the last lap, Starring was 0.2 of a second faster, and Starring and Herfoss, the former teammates last year, were separated by 0.02 of a second in lap time as they came round to complete lap 8. As they come around to complete lap 9, Troy Herfoss has actually set his fastest lap of the race with a 1:06.231. And also all of them within the 1:06.2s and 1:06.3s. But as you mentioned, they've got to be going faster to try and catch up the 49-year-old that currently leads this race. And is he on track for his first ever ASBK victory in 2018?
Well, he's looking pretty good at the moment. Like he's, as far as Troy Bayliss goes, he's not moving around that much. He's almost looking like he's on a qualifying tyre out there. He's that smooth as far as Bayliss goes. You can just see the bike moving around a little bit, but I think he's got pretty much everything under control at the moment. Of course, Brian Starring, he hasn't won a race yet, and he's got to be feeling pretty hungry out there. Yes, hasn't won for a while, I mean, since Phillip Island. Of course, a podium last time out at Tailem Bend, so he needs to make this count, and he is.
He's doing a great job, as we mentioned, with some new tyres for the BC Performance X-Star team this weekend. Let's get down to Emma for an update as the riders start lap 10. Can head down to Race Safe and get a bit of a massage and manipulation by Mark Backway and be ready for the next race. But Starring and Herfoss are starting to close in on Troy Bayliss now. We are going to be set for an epic last 6 laps of this race. They're coming round to complete lap 11. There'll be 5 laps to go at the completion of this one. And Starring and Herfoss are closing in on the last lap. Once again, the fastest of the 3 was Herfoss in 3rd position.
Yeah, well, Herfoss yesterday in the really hot afternoon qualifying did his fastest laps on lap 7 and lap 8 of the tyre. So he's got that Honda dialed on worn tyres. So keep an eye on him. If anyone can come through, it's going to be him.
And all three of these riders are actually only lapping about 0.2 of a second off their fastest laps of the race. The fastest lap of the race so far is a 106.1 for Brian Starring, and on that last lap they were all 106.3s in the first two positions, but Troy Herfoss once again fastest man on track, a 106.162, his fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, and getting close to the lap record set by Josh Waters last year, 105.9. So last year they actually went faster in the race than they did in qualifying, so it was pretty impressive by Josh Waters last year to do that. But you know what? Nobody's thinking about lap records at the moment, especially not Troy Bayliss.
Well, here comes Matt Walters looking to try and make a pass on Mitch Levy on board bike number 68.
And he's made that tight line work for him. Look at him. Mitch Levy's run a little bit wide there with the wide line, but the number 12, Matt Walters, uses that mid-corner speed there and through turn one and gets past Mitch Levy.
Yeah, so Matt's up to 12th place now on board the Swan Insurance Rover Coaches Kawasaki Connection machine. Let's go back down to M.
Guys are checking in with Calvin Rye. Brian Starring doing a fantastic job, but can he catch Troy now?
I don't know, I suppose. This is the first time we actually raced here, so on this tyre, so this is all new to us. Twice I can't thank Dunlop enough for what they've done for us over the last couple of weeks since Taylor and Ben. And as you can see now, we're actually gradually getting there. So, to be honest, this race is anybody's in this heat. You know, the two Troys, they're riding superbly, and Brian's obviously in there as well for a shout. So, let's see what happens over these last 4 or 5 laps.
Hope to see you on the podium. Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
It's Kelvin Riley. I think he's trying to keep the excitement in check at the moment, but it's all looking pretty good for Brian Starring and the two Troys, Troy Bayliss and Troy Herfoss. As Matt Walters starts to pull away now from Mitch Levy, but the big question is he's got a pretty big gap that he's got to try and make up now to Glenn Scott to try and move up another position.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for him to do that, to catch up to Glenn Scott. Unfortunately, that you know, he needs to not make a mistake, or whatever happened at the start of the race has put him in that position. He's doing some good lap times out there, and able to pull away. But meanwhile, back at the front, guess who's joining the party? Troy Herfoss there with a little bit more edge grip by the look of it. Gets tucked in the slipstream there at Brian Starring's extremely fast ZX10.
Yeah, as they make their way down the straight, you can see Herfoss is just glued to the back of Starring's machine, but can't even make an overtaking manoeuvre, even in the slipstream from the BC Performance Kawasaki, as they, on the last lap, they were all separated by only 0.3 of a second. Once again, though, Troy Herfoss, the fastest man in the top 3, as he tries to drive up the inside there on a bit of a change of line.
Watch Herfoss. He's looking for a way past now. Can't do it into there.
Well, Brian seems to be able to get the run up the hill there, but Herfoss was late on the brakes, and he's good up here in the hairpin. Can't try and find a way past. Bayliss was wide. Bayliss was very wide through the YMF hairpin as they drive out through the Kawasaki corner. He seems to have been able to pull the difference. Is it once again Bayliss doing the come in wide, run wide, and then get on the gas and fire it out of the corner?
No, that was whoops, I didn't mean to be wide there. And now they're all together on track, and they're coming up to some back markers as well. Not what they need. So, but look at that. Number 98 has moved over to the side.
That was Evan Biles doing a good job there to get out of the way and let this top 3 through as they come round. They'll complete 14 laps. There is 2 laps to go for our top 3.
Look at Herfoss. Herfoss is through up the inside on Brian Starring. That Honda is fast.
Yeah, but Herfoss also was rubbing elbows with Brian Starring there as they went past as well. He timed that run to absolute perfection down in towards turn 1, and he's now got his sights set on the other Troy, on the other red bike, our race leader, Troy Bayliss.
Yeah, that was a great move by Troy Herfoss there, and at the right time of the race. Not long to go in this one, so if you're going to give Troy Bayliss any curry, you've got to do it now.
Well, as they come down into the YMF corner, Troy Bayliss was a lot more composed on that occasion than what he was on the last one. Didn't run wide, got good drive out of the corner towards the Kawasaki corner. And now this final run up the hill and towards the Suzuki corner that comes down into KTM to end off this race. They go through YMI. Look at Herfoss, he's closing in. He's closed in a fair amount just through the last 3 corners on board bike number 17, the Penrite Honda. But Bayliss is very fast through that last corner, through Suzuki and through KTM, as they come out now to get the last lap board. 1 lap of Hidden Valley to go for Troy Bayliss to create history in the ASBK.
Keep an eye on Brian Starring, though, in 3rd position at the moment. Can he get caught up in that slipstream? But look at Herfoss, he's up there. He can't do it, but I'll tell you what, on that last lap, Herfoss was really looking at different lines to try and find a way past, and I think he's gonna attack this time, Phil.
They are riding harder than they have, but their lap times are slower than what they have been for the entire race. They're all up into the mid to high sixes now, with Bayliss a 106.7, Herfoss was a 106.5, and Starring a 106.8.
Look at how close he is now. This is going to come down to the wire. He's going to look up the inside. He's got a tight line. He's right there, but he can't do it. Bayliss defends. He's on the gas. The Honda man's on the gas, but he can't get him through there as they head into the right-hander. It's come down to the next 500 metres, Phil.
Well, and Troy Bayliss is making the Desmo Sport Ducati wider than he possibly can at the moment. Herfoss tries to go up the inside, sneaks the Penrite Oils Honda around. Bayliss back around the outside. Oh, it's epic stuff between the two Troys. They come down now through the final corner, through KTM and out onto the Yamaha Motor Finance straight. It is Bayliss that leads. Herfoss in the slipstream. The run to the line is going to be so important. I think Bayliss might have it. His first win in 2018. And Troy Bayliss comes across the line to take his first victory. Herfoss in second and Starring in third. What a race.
Oh, my goodness. Bayliss is back. Did he ever leave? I don't know. He's been in our TV sets for a long, long time, and he's back.
Did you see Troy Herfoss was almost bowing to, the dominator of Darwin in race number 1, Troy Bayliss, the three-time Superbike world champion, and you could be right, this could be the turnaround in his season. He said that they did that test at Morgan Park, and the bike is feeling better than it ever has, and what a final race. Troy Herfoss gave that last lap absolutely everything. There is certainly nothing you can say. He did everything he possibly could to try and take that win, but at the end, it was Troy Bayliss was just a fraction too good. In fact, Steve, he was 0.204 of a second too good.
Yeah, not much in that one, Phil. Al Phillips comes over the line, of course. Ben Stronach there as well from Western Australia making the ride. He's also done a great job. Good kudos to Glenn Allerton as well in 5th position. He did a great job, and the next-gen BMW is always improving with every exit.
Backing up his solid performances from the bend as well. Wayne Maxwell took 4th position. Allerton, as you mentioned, in 5th. Falzon in 6th. Josh Waters in the 7th place, the reigning champion. He won't be happy with that. Look out for a big performance from Josh Waters this afternoon. His teammate Mark Chiodo was in 8th place. What a great result for Mark Chiodo to be only 22 seconds behind the lead. He'll be very happy with that one. Arthur Cece's in 9, and Glenn Scott rounds out the top 10 in his return from overseas and his return to the ASBK. Great to see Glenn Scott back.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to have him in the paddock. I mean, he's been away for a couple of years. He hasn't been that fit with that leg injury, but you know, that's all sorted now, and good to see him back on his own team, on his own Kawasaki ZX-10. Glenn Scott, really impressive. 26 seconds off the lead, but nevertheless, Troy Bayliss, our winner, of course, that was just an incredible result. Kyle Buckley in 11th, Matt Walters in 12th, Mitch Levy got 13th, Slane Frost, Brad Swallow, Alex Phillips, of course, started in 16th and finished in 16th. Ben Stronach with a good result for him. Mitch Rees, what a race he had as well. And Sam Lambert, the local boy, coming good as well. So all in all, it was a pretty good Superbike race. I don't know what you think, Phil.
Yeah, it was absolute spectacle between the two Troys and Brian Starring, who had a pretty good lead. Maxwell in 4th place was 6.4 seconds behind the lead, so probably 5.9 seconds or so behind 3rd place. But it really all was about that top 3, and they all put on a sensational ride. I think we're going to be in for an epic Superbike race number 2 this afternoon. Well, time to hear from our top 3. Let's go down to Emma, who's in park for May.
Yeah, starting with 3rd position, Brian Starring. Congratulations, fantastic pace today, and 4th podium for you.
Yeah, look, I'm a bit disappointed with the race. I was a bit of a sitting duck. I had the pace, but turns out we've got a bike that was good for a lap time, but not so good in the battle. So I couldn't really do much, and I never really got close enough to do anything anyway, to be fair. Anyway, we'll go back to the drawing board. It's still a podium. It's still not a bad result, but...
Still one more race to go to,
we're aiming higher. We'll continue to aim higher. Anyway, look, big thanks to my personal sponsors, Wallace Risk, Berry Sweet Strawberries, and Consent to Go. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, 3rd position, Brian Starring. Well done, mate. Over to 2nd, Troy Herfoss. Fantastic racing, Troy. 2nd position. You got a great move on Brian Starring in those last few laps, and you almost caught Troy. Fantastic battle.
Yeah, I did. I timed it to perfection, really. And just when I was catching Troy and when I was watching him in the race, he was a lot weaker than me in certain spots on the track, and then, man, I didn't time it good enough, and where I thought I was stronger than him, I couldn't try and pass him, and yeah, there was no hope of me making that pass. So, like, he's too strong into that corner for me, and I was just pushing the front, and like, even to try and take him wide with me,
you know, it was too much of a risk for both of us, and I would never do that. But yeah, congratulations to Troy, but congratulations to my Penrite Honda team too. They've done a great job, and we had a great start of the weekend. Bit of a lull in the middle, but like we thought, we had strong race pace, and it's just about me critiquing a few things to start mainly.
Good luck for the next one, mate.
Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, first position, his first win for 2018. You also moved to third in the championship. Troy Bayliss, well done.
Thanks, Emma. Yeah, I owe that to our team, all of our sponsors. Big call bringing an old follower on board, and but yeah, you know, between our guys like Ben Henry, Paul Free, and also Byron Draper at Olin's, they've made a lovely bike for me to ride, and like it's so fun to ride it like that. The only problem I had, it messed with my head a little bit. I lost my knee slider on the third lap. Really made it difficult for me. Just every time I put my leg down, it would dig in, and I just had to, you know, get over that and move on.
Can you make it a clean sweep?
I feel pretty good. That was actually a hard race, so it was quite physical. I've been feeling good all weekend, but yeah, I felt that one. I'll do everything I got this afternoon, though.
Well done, Troy.
Thanks, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, Troy Bayliss first in this first race for the YMF Superbikes. These guys are the backbone of our sport. They travel far and wide most of the time with their families, and it is so great to see their passion, drive and dedication when it comes to this championship. Let's meet some of our privateers.
I think for us, the biggest challenge, definitely logistics, you know, going to work, doing a general job and then getting everything there.
The main thing coming from New Zealand, we don't get the chance to come over here and do any prep, and the being 2 months ago was the last time I saw the bike, so it certainly makes things hard. But I mean, at the same time, the positive thing is with a smaller team, you feel like a bit more of a family because you know everyone so much better.
Since being a factory rider for so long, I forget about some of the battles every privateer goes through, and being a privateer now, I'm starting to remember what it was like.
The cost and everything that comes along with the race now we have, and we don't have past support as what some other teams do.
Compared to the factory teams, you see in their pit boxes they've got hundreds of tyres, and we can only afford what we can use during the weekend, and sometimes even less.
It's always going to be hard fighting against the factory boys. They do a lot more riding than we do, and yeah, it's cool though. We're just here to have fun, and we're really enjoying it.
For us, being from WA, is a travel. Like all our races are a long way away. Our closest around now is probably in Adelaide, which is almost 3,000 k's away.
Yeah, just the fact that you've got to do everything yourself, you know, come home in the arbour after a big day's work and work on the bikes and get everything ready. You don't have the knowledge or the money or the experience that the factory teams do, but we do it because we love it, you know, the excitement of riding the bike, you know, the great people around you, you know, it's just a, you know, way out from their everyday life, and yeah, wouldn't change it for the world.
Started racing when I was 9, so anything with a motor, you put petrol in it, I'm there. I'm straight onto it.
ASBK is like a big travelling family, I think. Like, everybody's real friendly, nice people. It's always good to get away.
When you're on the bike, everything goes away out of your mind, and you're just you and your bike, and I think that's the best part about it. Also winning.
So there you have it. What a great effort from our riders, their friends and their families. We wish all of our privateers the very best of luck for the rest of 2018. And you never know, you may have just met a future champion.
It is certainly sizzling in the top end, and we are getting ready for the second and final of our Kawasaki Supersport races for the weekend. Crew Halliday took pole position yesterday afternoon, and he took the first race victory this morning, and he's certainly off to a fantastic start. But it was a great battle for the rest of the podium positions between young Tom Taparis and Max Croker on board the Matt Mladen Motorsport Suzuki. That was the real highlight of the race. But let's go down to Emma on the grid, who's got some of our top 3 riders.
Phil, it is very, very hot down here. It is 35 degrees, track temperature of 44 degrees, certainly a lot warmer than the first race earlier on today. It was Ted Collins who won here in 2017. It is 14 laps to complete around this beautiful 2.87 kilometre circuit. Crew Halliday right here sitting in pole position, and crew, you just can't do any wrong at the moment. You've had a fantastic season so far, 6 wins and leading the championship still.
Yeah, it's a good feeling, Emma. You know, I can't do it without the team that's behind me. You know, the factory guys have really got this R6 dialed. It's an all-new bike this year, and you know, it hasn't been a fault with it. So hopefully I can continue the charge and you know, just stay on it and get as many points as I can for the overall insight, which is the championship.
A nice clear track ahead of you, but you've got a very, very hungry Tom Taparis not too far away.
Yeah, definitely. You know, Tom's riding unbelievable. He's an 18-year-old. He's got a lot of hunger in him, and you know, he can't take away from Max Croker. He's going to get an awesome start. We've seen him start at Adelaide, and you know, it's hopefully I can put a couple of boys in between me and Tom off the start if I get a good start, and just do what I did in the first one.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Crew Halliday starting from pole position, sitting first in the championship. The guy that's sitting second in the championship is right here, also starting from second position today. Tom Taparis, what do you have to do in this race to get Crew?
Yeah, he's been pretty hard to get lately, hasn't he? But I think, yeah, I really think it is doable. Last race I just got a terrible start and got a little bit held up in the beginning, but yeah, like it's a new race, and you know, we've made a few little changes, and yeah, hopefully it pays off, and you know, I just have to win, really, I think, to really keep my championship alive. So I'll do my best and see what we can come up with.
Go get him.
Thank you.
We'll head over to third position, Max Croker. He got a podium yet again for that last race, looking really cool, calm and collected. And Max, fantastic for that last race. You've really got to just try and close the gap, I guess, with those two boys ahead of you for this one.
Yeah, it was a struggle. We didn't have the pace in the last one, but yeah, it's quite hot conditions this one, so we'll see how we go. I think it's going to play a lot in tyre life, but yeah, we'll just gauge ourselves off the boys and yeah, see how we go.
Good luck. Hey boys, I actually asked Matt Mladen a little bit earlier if they made any changes to this bike. He said, yeah, we are going to make changes. I might jump on it. Wouldn't it be great to see Matt Mladen back on a bike again? Back to you.
Thanks, Emma. If Matt Mladen made a comeback, Steve Martin pulls back on the leathers, and maybe Troy Corser comes back from overseas, it'll be back to the 90s, the halcyon days of Australian Superbike Championship racing. But the field these days is just so competitive, and it's great to see legends like Troy Bayliss, like Matt Mladen. They see how big the Australian Championship is getting now, and they're keen to get involved. And kudos to Matt Mladen for coming back and not trying to run a Superbike class, bringing riders through from the Supersport 300 through the intermediate class, Kawasaki Supersport, and then into Superbike. Let's go back down to Emma on the grid.
Just down here with Damon Reese. Wow, your leathers are really hot. God, it's tough conditions out there, isn't it?
Oh, it's bloody hot this afternoon, so it's going to be a bit of a tough one, but we should be able to manage it.
You just missed out on the podium. What do you have to do to get that podium? I know you'll be pushing hard for this one.
Just push harder. We'll be right.
That sounds easy enough.
Oh, it's not.
Good luck.
Cheers.
Yeah, great to have the former New Zealand Supersport champion over here, along with his brother and his dad, of course, a former New Zealand Superbike champion, running the team for the Rees brothers, Damon and Mitch. And he's been a long-time campaigner over here in Australia and has had some really good races in the past, and certainly no stranger to the podium in the Kawasaki Supersport class.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely going to be a good one, this one coming up, Phil. We had an interesting race earlier on today, and I know that everybody's going to be out now to try and chase down Crew Halliday. He's shown his hand. He's shown what he can do. He won by 4 seconds race one today, so that was a pretty handy lead, and I'm sure he backed it off towards the end as well. But guys like Tommy Taparis need to get a much better start this time out. He didn't get a good start in race one, as we heard. If he can get a good start, I think he can take it to this man that we're looking at now, Crew Halliday, on the R6. I mean, that bike and team just seem to be excelling, not race meeting by race meeting, but lap by lap, they're just getting better and better.
Well, the other important thing is that Crew has had that team behind him for many, many years, virtually ever since he started racing. Glenn McMahon's crew chief, everyone knows him as Chucker. He's been with Crew for many, many years. And Crew Halliday in that first race, Steve, his fastest lap was half a second faster than anybody else's fastest lap, just showing the dominance of him. But you know what it's like. You're a racer. If you get away with the lead group, Tom Taparis is right on the back of Crew Halliday. It will drag him forward. And also, as Matt Mladen said, the years that he was racing in the AMA Championship and he was playing second fiddle to Ben Spies, it made him rise to another level. And that's exactly what it's doing to Tom Taparis and also Max Croker now, because they're really trying to keep up with the dominant force of Crew Halliday.
Absolutely. And a few notables out there as well. Let's remember that Lachlan Epps is making a comeback from the European season to compete in this class as well. He didn't finish race one, but I'm sure he wants to make amends to that. But let's just quickly run through our grid.
Yeah, Crew Halliday, Tom Taparis and Max Croker will start from the front row of the grid with that man you just spoke of, Lachlan Epps, Giuseppe Scarcella, and also Damon Rees starting on row 2.
Zach Johnson starts out row 3 with Mick Heffernan, who had a fall in race 1 today in 8th position, and also 9th position is Tyra Lynch from South Australia. Scotty Nicholson starts from 10th position with Crew Halliday and Tom Taparis with a good run up next to him. So we're really looking forward to getting this underway, this race ahead, Phil.
Yeah, it's going to be quite epic. Look for a good start too from Tom Taparis, because he needs to get off the line. I know his family's sitting back down in Goulburn, putting another log on the fire and trying to keep warm while Tom Taparis is trying to keep cool under pressure here in the top end.
Yeah, well, I think things are pretty hot in Goulburn at the moment. I think everything's crossed, and they're waiting to see the young boy from Goulburn, Tom Taparis, take it to Crew Halliday this time out on the Cube Racing ZX Kawasaki.
Yeah, and he's also going straight back overseas, as we mentioned in race 1 this morning, Steve, that back to the World Championship. He'll be having another ride in the Supersport 300 class later on, and I think he leaves on Tuesday to head straight back overseas after this round here at Hidden Valley.
Damon Rees was 4th last time out, and Zach Johnson, keep an eye on him too. He got 5th last time, so there's plenty of guys that can take it to this one.
I think that was probably his best result too for Zach Johnson, as Crew Halliday comes around to take up his position on the grid. As Emma said, he has won the last 6 races. Crew Halliday on board the brand new Yamaha YZF R6. Can he make it 7 out of 7? Round 4 of the championship, halfway point in the 2018 season. Red flag leaves the front of the grid. Crew Halliday on pole position. Tom Taparis in 2nd. Max Croker in 3rd. Revs rise, and we are away. Good start from Tom Taparis, but Max Croker has got another cracking start. And in fact, Crew Halliday has dropped back behind Tom Taparis as they make their way down towards turn 1. Zach Johnson also looked like he got off to a pretty good start, as did Damon Rees. As they come down the inside, Crew Halliday just nips up the inside of Tom Taparis to take up the running in 2nd. But it is Max Croker that leads them handsomely out of turn 1 for the first time.
What a great start by Max Croker. That Suzuki certainly gets off the line as they head down into Pirelli, the hard-braking right-hander for the first time, and it's Max Croker that leads. He wasn't leading here last time round. It was Crew Halliday in race 1, but Crew Halliday with work to do. Tommy Taparis is right there. What can Max Croker do? Can he take it to them?
Well, that was a big moment too from Damon Rees as he came into Pirelli corner. He was lucky to stay on board the Rees Racing Honda CBR 600 right behind this lead group of 3 that have already only halfway round this first lap, Steve, eked out a bit of a gap over the rest of the field, and Rees in turn has pulled out a couple of tenths of a second over the pursuing pack led by Lachlan Epps and Ty Lynch.
Crew Halliday there, he's on a bit of a mission at the moment. Tom Taparis tried to nip up the inside, but it didn't quite work. He's tucked down in the slipstream there. Look how small he is. He's right in the slipstream now, but Crew Halliday is right on the back wheel of the Suzuki man, and he's gone through and taken the lead. That didn't take long for him, did it?
No, certainly no problem with the horsepower on the brand new YZF R6. It looks like great drive out of the KTM corner that leads onto the Yamaha Motor Finance straight for Crew Halliday as well. Now Tom Taparis has really got to try and concentrate and stay with Max Croker, or either try and get past and go with Crew Halliday. As they come up towards Pirelli, can Tom get up the inside? Look at the 2-wheel drift from Tom Taparis as he goes up the inside of Max Croker. A great move.
That was a beautiful move, Phil. He's on a mission. He knows that he can't let that man on the number 23 machine get away. He's got to give it everything he's got if he's going to stay in his slipstream. We know how good that Crew Halliday is on these first laps. He needs to get through there. He needs to stay with him and do what he can. You cannot let that man get past. Let's have another look. Up the inside, Tom Taparis. Everything sliding. Nips up the inside of number 41, Max Croker, and pulls it off. A great move into Pirelli corner there and puts him into 2nd place in the race, and still in contention and close to the lead.
The way the bike was sliding towards the outside of the track, and he was still able to tip it in. It looks like they made some changes to that bike on Friday afternoon with the hot kind of conditions, and it got better grip. Looks like that's playing here as well. Let's go down to Emma in the pits.
Been over the past few days?
Yeah, it's been good. Like we've been throwing everything at Crew, trying to bridge that gap, including the kitchen sink. So we're just trying the best that we can. Crew's like a great rider and has a lot of experience, and Tom, being so young, is doing a great job to be where he is. So we're going to keep pushing, chipping away at it, and hopefully we can bridge that gap and bring home the victory.
Thanks, Marty.
No worries.
Yeah, great to hear from Marty Dowd there, Tom Taparis' crew chief, a very experienced crew chief, has worked with many great riders who are now off overseas. Mark Aitchison rode in the World Championships, and current BSB star Jason O'Halloran was one of Marty's charges a few years ago as well, and he's doing great work with Tom Taparis. But as I was saying, they made a change on Friday afternoon for the hotter conditions, and it resulted in some great grip. They did it again yesterday, a little bit further down the development path, and still great grip from the bike. I'm wondering if they've gone a fraction further again, Steve, to try and get that excellent rear grip out of the Kawasaki, or whether they've just stayed as yesterday's settings. But at the moment, Tom's looking pretty good. The lap times, there is nothing between them. 1/10 of a second covered the top three in their lap times on that last lap, all in the 108.7s high and 8 lows.
I am super impressed with the man in third position at the moment, Max Croker. What a job he's doing on that Suzuki GSXR 600. Of course, Suzuki dominant here last year with a double win in the hands of Ted Collins. Ted Collins has moved on to Superbikes now, but that doesn't mean the Suzuki reign has ended. It looks like he's in for another podium. Of course, podium in race 1 today for the man on the number 41 machine, Max Croker, but this is as close as he's been to the front of a race this far into it.
Yeah, well, I think that was his third podium for the year for Max as well, so he certainly has been showing a good turn of speed. They've certainly dropped off Damon Rees, who at the moment looks like he's coming under attack from Lachlan Epps on board bike number 83. As they come down towards the final corners. This is where Lachlan Epps' race number 1 ended as he came through Suzuki and lost it into the KTM corner. But at the moment, it is our top three that have got a 3-second plus lead over the rest of the field as they come down the straight for the final time. Doesn't look to be all that much in top speeds between them. Crew Halliday's just uncorked a 108.4, 1/10 of a second faster than Taparis and 2/10 of a second faster than Max Croker to eke out a little bit more of a lead. The lead now up to half a second.
Cannot believe how good Max Croker is in this race. He's, yeah, he got a podium last time out, but he was not inside of the leaders. This time round, he's there.
Well, the other thing is, though, too, this is only his 4th round in the Supersport Championship after stepping up from Supersport 300 last year. It's got 2 extra cylinders, it's got twice the engine capacity and a whole lot more weight, and he has adapted to it very, very quickly.
Well, hang on, it's got 3 extra cylinders because he rode a KTM.
Oh,
he rode a KTM, so he's got lots more capacity and 3 cylinders to learn, completely different tyres, completely different style of riding. And I'll tell you what, the distance on the straight on the 600 seems a lot shorter than it does on one of the 300 machines.
And he's also got a great mentor in the former champion Matt Mladen, who's running the Matt Mladen Motorsports team. And as we mentioned, great to see him bringing young riders through, and he certainly has got an eye for picking talent. This is a great battle as well too. We saw it in race number 1 this morning. That's Dallas Skier on board bike number 86 having a battle with the local man Mick Hefferon on board bike number 99. And remember last year, Steve, Mick Hefferon was on the podium in the Kawasaki Supersport class behind Ted Collins.
Yeah, of course, he's a local from up here too, isn't he? He had crashed out of race 1 earlier on today, so I'm sure he wants to make amends if he can do that. But he's having a great battle out there. Zach Johnson's just up in front of them too, and Tyra Lynch is there. Scotty Nicholson's starting to come to grips on his next-gen 600 as well, and that was the machine. The next-gen 600 is the machine that won the championship, 600 championship last year.
Down to you, Em.
Doug here is a mechanic of Lachlan Epps. You have had a tough job this week, and of course with him out there doing double duties.
Yeah, absolutely. On the Superbike and also Supersport. Bit tough for him, especially up here in Darwin. It's very hot. He's turned quite a lot of laps this weekend, and I think he's having a good crack in this race, and hopefully he can keep it on 2 wheels. And
good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's great to see Lachlan Epps coming back from overseas, and there he is on board bike number 83, dueling with the former New Zealand Supersport champion Damon Rees on board bike number 20, the Rees Racing Honda.
Yeah, he's just starting to make his way forward. He's just done his quickest lap of the race, the 108.7, and to put that into perspective, sorry, 109.8, put that into perspective, he's just under a second off of the fastest laps of the race at the moment. So Lachlan Epps, a little bit of work to do.
So as he makes his way up towards the Yamaha Motor Finance hairpin, one of the slowest points on this this track, because from here on, Steve Martin, it might look like there's a lot of corners, but the circuit is very fast and very flowing for this second half as they make their way through Kawasaki up through Yamaha and then the YMI corner and then the run down the hill to Suzuki and KTM that finish off the lap.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very flowing back section to this circuit, although it doesn't look like it. It's almost like a couple of straights, this flowing back section, and then it's almost, you've got to brake on the side of the tyre all the way through Suzuki and onto KTM to get that good drive, good line onto the straight. So it's a pretty technical circuit. It's easy to go fast, but to go super fast is hard.
Speaking of going fast, Max Croker is going fast and he's going past Tom Taparis. That was great use of the slipstream there on board the number 41 Matt Mladen Suzuki GSX R600 as he went past the Cube Racing Kawasaki ZX6 of Tom Taparis. Tom Taparis is very strong up into Pirelli corner there. You can see him close right up onto the back of Croker again, but I think you'll find that Crew Halliday has gone. He is 1.1 seconds in the lead now and starting to pull away. 1.7 seconds, in fact, as they go through the second intermediate. And he's really starting to apply the pressure now. His fastest lap of the race at 1:08.353. But here is a replay of the pass. You can see Max Croker just pulled out of the slipstream just after the start-finish line and blasted on by and was very, very late on the brakes. And I've got to say, a pretty smooth corner entry too, considering that you're trying to pull the bike up with maybe a little bit of extra top speed after having that slipstream.
Yeah, Max, great job there. Got a good drive out of final turn and made that pass at the easiest place possible down the chute and pulled it off by getting into modal corner nice and smoothly. So Max Croker, I'm sure he's not going to have it that way for too much longer though, because I don't think Tom Taparis will let that happen for too much.
Now, it looked like Tom was just a fraction too far back to get the slipstream advantage as they came down the straight that time. Looks like Mick Heffernan has also got ahead of the Next Gen Motorsports machine. Dallas Skier has also dropped back. He was leading that group not too long ago. This is a great ride from Scotty Nicholson on board bike number 39. I reckon that would probably be one of his best positions so far in the championship, to be up in 8th position on board the Next Gen Motorsport machine. Another rider stepping up from 300 Supersport, and he didn't do a few races last year. Suffered a very nasty injury at this round last year on board the 300.
Yeah, absolutely. He was one of the front runners in the 300 class last year, and it was, as you said, out of modal corner. He had it off and a few injuries there, which he had to sit out some rounds. So he's back this time and he's on the 600 machine. But meanwhile, Tom Taparis has struck back and takes that second position back. You can see Crew Halliday there. Not too much to worry about for him at the moment. He's got to try and beat himself, but there's certainly a race going on between these two guys, and once again it's Max Croker who gets a great slipstream and straight pass down the straight on the Kawasaki.
Yeah, the last couple of laps Crew Halliday has just been that 2-3 tenths of a second faster, and you blink your eyes and Crew Halliday has all of a sudden got a 2.5 second lead over the rest of the field as they will be on the 10th lap now. So at the completion of this lap there will be 4 more laps to go. But here's a replay of Taparis and Croker. It looked like Croker got it a fraction wide as they came through the YMI corner and down through Suzuki, and unfortunately the Suzuki had to play second fiddle to the Kawasaki.
That probably didn't go to plan too well, but meanwhile Suzuki is back in front of these two guys, and a good job by the number 41 Max Croker. He's really got on the corner entry as well into these fast 180-degree bends, light modal corner here at Hidden Valley.
Well, they're back to the scene of the crime. Last lap around, Croker was a lot more tidy as they came through that time, down through Suzuki and into KTM. Let's see if Tom Taparis can slip into the slipstream and repay the favour that Max Croker did to him last lap around. You can see there, Tom Taparis, he's been racing in the Supersport 300 World Championship where slipstreaming is at a plenty. So the Kawasaki starting to move forward now, pulls out to the inside. It's going to be a late braking duel down in towards turn 1, but we've seen Croker extremely strong on the brakes and has done a great job. Can he hold it on line? He runs a fraction wide, but we've seen Troy Bayliss use that line with great effect this weekend.
Yeah, it's the thing about that corner there, Phil, there's a couple of different lines and you can get in quite deep there, and you sort of got to square the corner off and shoot out and get good drive, and Max used that system that time through there. But now look at the drive from Tom Taparis. He's going to look up the inside. He's gone in tight, but he's halfway past, but can't make it count this time through.
Now that was almost the precision riding team there as they made their way down into the Yamaha Motor Finance hairpin. There was nothing between them. Oh, we've got, is that Lachlan Eppes going down again?
Yeah, that's Lachlan Eppes. He's off, I reckon. Something not working out for him today, unfortunately. Lachlan Eppes is off. Let's hope that he can move that bike out of the way. That bike is in a precarious situation at the moment.
Let's hope he can pick it up and get it out of the way.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, back in the pack, there's a couple of guys right in the slipstream as they head down that long straight, and it's, of course, our two protagonists for the podium again. Max Croker, once again. Gee, I'll tell you what, Phil, that Suzuki has certainly got a lot of stomp on board. It's not slow. It might have been around for a while, that GSX R600, but it's proven to be a pretty fast machine.
Yeah, and the reason it hasn't been changed for so long is because it's there's nothing really wrong with it, and it won the championship last year.
Yeah, absolutely correct. When you get guys like Matt Mulladden working and tinkering on it with his team and Suzuki knowledge, it's only going to get better, isn't it?
Oh, Tom Taparis, I thought he was having a big look up the inside there, but couldn't quite get the job done. Look at the way he's having to manhandle the bike now to try and get the drive. I think he might be getting a little bit frustrated that he can't find his way past Max. He's done a great job there. They are coming down here, but Max Croker, I thought, had the inside run into that corner, but Taparis just didn't let it off. And on a 600, that would be pretty much full throttle through there in about, what, fourth gear, Steve?
Absolutely. It's certainly a fast sequence of corners. That was a brilliant move by Tom Taparis there. He's got a bit of ground on Maxi Croker, but he's caught it up on the brakes. Max is so strong in the braking area. We've seen that into turn one time and time again, but also through Suzuki and into KTM, he's good on the brakes. And when he gets in the slipstream of that Kawasaki, he's able to pull right up onto the back of it. And once again, there he goes. He's got that toe and gone past, and hard on the brakes. Does he hold it this time? He uses that wide line. We've seen that. Taparis is trying to go up the inside. He can't do it.
Well, I actually thought that Max Croker was too far back there to even get the slipstream, so he's got great drive out onto the main straight here at Hidden Valley, and he has made up a lot of distance over Tom Taparis' number 7 machine, but Taparis comes up the inside, two-wheel drifting once again, but can't quite get past. There is 2 laps to go for the Kawasaki Supersport riders. Crew Halliday has a 3-second plus lead, but this is where the real interest is. The battle for the final 2 places on the podium. Currently it is Max Croker leading from Tom Taparis, and the 2 young guns are having a great duel here for the honours in this second of the Kawasaki Supersport races at this 4th round of the championship, the halfway point of the 2018 season.
Absolutely. It looks like Taparis is all over him around the back of the circuit. He's trying as hard as he can to find his way through. He's done it a few times, but Max Croker that time through, a good job by him. He holds his line, and Taparis and the number 7 Cube Kawasaki just has to try and sit in that slipstream again, but boy, that machine has got some stomp. Meanwhile, back out front, it's the number 23 Crew Halliday having the ride of his life.
Yeah, he's on his final 2.87 kilometre tour of Phillip Island, of Hidden Valley for the weekend, is Crew Halliday. Bike number 23, the Yamaha YZF R6, is coming around through the back of the circuit. You can see the battle there for the next 2 places on the podium is still Max Croker that leads Tom Taparis. But this round, once again, has been all about Crew Halliday and all about the brand new Yamaha YZF R6. Croker still leads through the hairpin. Tom Taparis right on his tail, Steve Martin. This is going to be, just like the Superbike race, another epic duel down to the final corner and run onto the main straight. Croker at the moment holding sway over Tom Taparis. This is where Taparis was able to make a pass earlier on in the race. Can he do it again in the dying stages?
It's going to be difficult for him, but he's going to have a go down through Suzuki into KTM. Will he do it? He knows that he can't slipstream him over the line. He's sitting there, he's right in the slipstream, but he's going to have to accept 3rd position. Crew Halliday, in the meantime, has got his foot off the pegs, saluting the team, and what a job by Crew Halliday, followed by Max Croker, who takes 2nd position. What a great result for him to beat Tom Taparis, and Damon Rees from New Zealand on his Honda CBR gets a great and well-deserved 4th position.
Well, there you go. Crew Halliday took the win by 3 seconds, but he was celebrating before he got to the line. And at one stage, he led by nearly 4 seconds. Tom Taparis had to take 3rd place, but Max Croker, the great ride from the Suzuki man, takes out 2nd. That makes up the podium with Damon Rees in 4th, Zach Johnson in 5th, Mick Heffernan in 6th place, Scotty Nicholson, his best result of the season, in 7th, Dallas Skier in 8th, Reece Belling in 9th, and Ty Lynch, the South Australian, rounds out the top 10.
Yeah, good to see Ty Lynch there getting into that top 10 on his YZF R6. He's another guy that has had to adapt to the 600 and doing a good job. Graham Smith in 11th position. Lachlan Epplesey didn't finish, unfortunately, for him in 12th. And Giuseppe Scarcella, who crashed out early on as well. So, unfortunately for him.
Let's head down to the podium and hear from our top 3 in Kawasaki Supersport Race 2.
Thanks, Phil. Starting with 3rd position at Tom Taparis. Tom, God, you look hot. Those conditions must be really hot out there.
Yeah, it's very hot considering we're coming from Goulburn, so big change in weather, but I think I got used to it as the week went on, and yeah, that last race was definitely very tricky, but yeah, Max rode really well, and obviously Crew was off the front, so We've got a bit of work to do before Morgan Park, but see how we go.
Still got yourself another podium, mate, and you're still sitting second in that championship.
Yeah, it's good to obviously be in the box. We've still got plenty of points, and I think the lead to crew would be about, mid-20s or early 20s, so still in reach, but we have to really turn it around and start getting some wins again like the beginning of the year.
Well, you cool down. Well done, mate.
Thank you.
And Max Croker, second position. Congratulations, your best position for 2018. Another podium for you. Well done.
Thank you. Yeah, we're over the moon. We've worked really hard for this, and step by step we're moving forward and progressing all the time. Learning the Suzuki, it's been great, and to have Matt behind me has just been awesome. The team's done a fantastic job this weekend, and yeah, well done to everyone. Thank you.
Great work.
Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, once again, we welcome him back to the podium. Our winner, his 7th win for the season, Crew Halliday, unstoppable.
Yeah, I like the sound of that. I wanted to go the three-peat, so, it's the best thing about this is I wasn't sure really how I was going to go at this round. I struggled here on the 1,000 last year, and I thought to myself, said to my parents and my team, if we can get through this round with some serious points, it should be a good, because I love Winton and I love Morgan Park, and I'm so happy to be leading the championship. The team's done a phenomenal job. Can't thank anyone enough.
I think you're going to head straight for the kiddie pool, aren't you?
I think so. And I just got to watch the Superbike boys and let the fun begin.
Well done, mate.
Thank you.
Technology has moved forward tenfold in the last 10 or 15 years. There's lots of different safety aids on the bikes now, traction control, ABS. But it's not bikes only that have improved their technology. Things like helmets have moved forward a long way. Today, we're going to have a look at this trick new AGV that some of the greatest riders wear. With names like Rossi, Jack Miller, and Troy Bayliss developing the Pista GPR, it has got some of the greatest technology that has ever come into the market for a helmet. As an example, it's got a full carbon shell. It's got no stitching in the lining on the inside. 4 different sizes of shell to match the head that you've got. This is pretty much the benchmark nowadays of helmet design. It's not good enough just to have a helmet that's safe nowadays. Performance is also important. The Pista GPR is very aerodynamic, and also the way that the wind comes through the ventilation system, it keeps the rider cool and stops the helmet from buffeting. Obviously it looks good too. I mean, have a look at it. This thing is seriously hot. Enough from me though. Let's talk to somebody who's used one out on track. Do you want me to go in? Yep. Troy, before you put your helmet on, I know you're about to head out, but I've got to ask you, first year with the new AGV, what do you think of it?
Mate, Steve, good to see you, by the way. I'm actually loving the new helmet. So comfortable, and you have a feel like, I think it must be the lightest out there, but very nice. Proud to be wearing it.
I can't believe how light this thing is. Well, I hope you've got a spare, because I'm taking this one with me. See you later.
No one's ready though.
Well, time for an update. Down to you, Em.
Thanks, Phil. We're almost ready to go racing for the YMF Superbikes. It's race number 2 and our final race. Just a bit of an update. You saw Jamie Stouffer crash out in that first race. He is out of this race. Unfortunate for Jamie. He actually has a broken ankle. Big shout out to him. Also, Adam Senior, you saw him pull into the pits in race number 1. He's got a sore back and very fatigued following a motorcycle crash quite a few weeks ago. So shout out to Adam. Both of those boys out. We're just about to get to some of the riders, but in the meantime, something we all love knowing about, tyres, tyres, tyres. Let's check in with Steve Martin. He's with Pirelli.
We always love to get the inside goss on the thousands of Pirelli tyres that make their way here to the circuit every race weekend. And of course, we're lucky enough to have Dave Fuller with us. Dave, a unique set of circumstances up here. It's hot out there. What has Pirelli brought to counter that heat?
Oh, we've got a full range of Pirelli tyres. We're really lucky all the time to have Georgia and the world team that are a test bed for us. We've got always a huge selection of tyres. The heat up here in Darwin is not a problem for us, so we're looking forward to the races.
Is there anything new, though, that you've had to bring to counter that? Are you always developing the tyres?
They're always continually developing through the year. For us, yeah, we're the beneficiaries, and our riders are the beneficiaries of all the hard work that Johnny Ray and all those world-class riders do for us.
I guess another thing that the guys have to consider is tyre pressure up here. I mean, due to these hot temperatures, the tyres must grow. I mean, do you muck around much with the pressures in the hot conditions?
Yeah, not by a great deal though. We're talking about a 3-4 psi at the very most. That might be a difference from the bend to here, but overall very, very similar.
All right, mate. Well, there you have it. The Inside Goss on tyres. Pirelli are here on song as always, and have a good weekend.
Thanks very much. Great to be here.
Thanks, Steve. Well, tyres certainly not an issue for this guy. No issues at all in that first race. Fantastic battle with Troy Herfoss. Can you make it another win?
Time will tell, Emma. Feeling good on the bike, of course, and lovely to have my first win for the Desmond Sport Ducati team. So it's certainly a little bit hotter this afternoon, but it was really hot for that first race as well, so it was quite challenging. I'm sure the boys want to, take a win off me, and I really want to have another one, so here we go.
One thing that makes a big difference for people as well, you've got great support from your beautiful wife, Kim, standing right beside you, and you've got a fantastic team around you too, Troy.
Yeah, we do. The team is great, and this is where I believe we should be racing all the time, and we have sort of had a big turnaround in the last few weeks, and I'm a different person on the bike and feel like the good old days.
Well done, Troy. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go over to another Troy Herfoss, sitting in second position. The Honda boys said earlier, we're not here to come second, so I know they'll be pushing for that win. Sorry, Troy, I always get you at the worst times, don't you? It's one thing for you, Troy. The great thing is you always seem to get a fantastic start. Hope you get one for this one too.
Yeah, thank you. It was a tough race in race one, and it's getting hot and windy, and I'm sure Troy's eager to get another race win, so I'll do my best to keep him honest.
Good luck, mate.
Thank you.
All right, we'll head over to the guy sitting in third position who's keeping nice and cool. That's a good little invention there. Hey, Brian Starring, I know you were a little bit disappointed with third position in that last race, but, I saw you come from 11th position in Phillip Island to first, so it can be done from third, can't it?
Yeah, exactly. From the fifth row, it's been done before. Yeah. Oh, look, it's about nailing absolutely everything, and we didn't quite nail everything we needed to in that first one. So we've made a couple of small adjustments to the bike that we think are going to win the race for us.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Bye. What a race that was, race one. Incredible for Bayliss. And I mean, when we just saw him on the grid before, I would say, I don't know what you think, but he just seems ultra pumped. He's got that first race win in the bag now, and I think that he's going to give it everything he's got this time out.
I think a lot of the credit probably goes to that recent test they had at Morgan Park, where they've found something in the motorcycle that he was lacking all year, and now he's got it. He looks more comfortable on the bike. By his own admission, he's having more fun riding the bike than what he's ever had. And confidence is a very dangerous thing for the rest of the field, not for Troy Bayliss.
In yesterday's qualifying, though, in the afternoon, the fastest man on track, in similar conditions to this when the track temperatures were right up, was Troy Herfoss. He managed to do the second fastest lap of the weekend in stifling hot conditions and was the fastest man on track, faster than our race winner. So I think things may be falling into the hands of him. But I like what Brian Starring says too. Starring, he's been struggling a little bit this weekend, still managed to get third. They've made some changes. He knows what he wants, and if they can give him what he wants, he's the man that can win this race. So it's going to be difficult to pick.
Well, remember at the back end of the season, he was one of the only people that actually seemed to have an answer for Josh Waters as he made that charge to the championship. So we know that Brian Starring can do it. He won the race at the first round. He won the first round, in fact, and led the championship heading into Wakefield Park. And I'll tell you what, back on the second row of the grid, there's a couple of blokes that are pretty keen to get their noses up onto the podium, if not take the race win. Wayne Maxwell, who got a reasonable start in the race this morning, and also Josh Waters, the man that had dominated every meeting at Darwin, and unfortunately this weekend has been struggling somewhat with the Team Suzuki X-Star machine.
Well, Josh Waters still holds the lap record here at a 105.9. I don't think they beat that this morning. So Josh Waters, let's hope that they can turn things around there. They need a good result in this race if they're going to challenge for the championship this year. And Daniel Falzon, another guy we need to speak to, starts on the second row of the grid. He was actually leading the championship on his privateer R1 at this point last year. So Daniel Falzon, who came good at Tail and Bend, had his first podium on the factory Yamaha. He's moved into the factory Yamaha team. Definitely a guy to watch. But notables from race one, Glenn Allen, what a result he had on the next gen BMW. Finished in 5th position. And Marcus Chiodo, the best ride that I've seen him had on that GSXR.
Yep, fastest man in race one was in fact Brian Starring with a 106.154. And with these conditions this afternoon, and from what we've seen in practice and qualifying so far, think Josh Waters' lap record may just stand the test of time in this meeting, and it will carry through until next year.
One thing I do know about this circuit, though, you've only got to have 1 or 2 little tweaks to the bike, and it can make all the difference. So that means a guy like Maxwell could turn it around just with a click of the fingers.
Well, let's recap the championship points after race 1 and heading into race 2. It is Troy Herfoss that currently leads on 180.5 points. Wayne Maxwell on 158. Troy Bayliss, with that win, has now moved up into 3rd place ahead of Daniel Falzon, and Josh Waters back to 5th place. Brian Starring has moved up into 6th. Glenn Allerton, Al Phillips, Matt Walters and Arthur Cece's round out the top 10. And Arthur this weekend has been sensational, and his starts for the last couple of rounds have been completely and utterly off the planet. Look for him off the start on the black bike with white spots, as we found out earlier on before, bike number 63.
Yeah, definitely. He's definitely a guy to watch, and obviously got a lot of international experience as Arthur Cece, so really looking forward to it. But here is the grid. Troy Bayliss starts from pole with Troy Herfoss in 2nd. Brian Starring rounds out the front row. Wayne Maxwell 4th. Josh Waters from 5th. Daniel Falzon from 6th position. Jamie Stauffer, who won't be starting from 7th. Glenn Allerton on the next-gen BMW in 8th. And Mark Chiodo rounds out row 3.
Yeah, he's been sensational this weekend. Matt Walters will start up row 4, along with Arthur Cece's and also Glenn Scott. Kyle Buckley on 83, Lachlan Epps and Mitch Rees on row 5. Al Phillips, Mitch Levy and Sloane Frost round out row 6. And also another notable non-starter in this one, Heath Griffin, who has got some hand injuries and won't be able to take part in this one, as well as Jamie Stauffer, his teammate.
Well, it's hot here, but it's about to get hotter, Phil, any second.
It is about to get extremely hot. Well, we've seen history written twice this weekend, Steve Martin. Will we see it again in race number 2? The red flag leaves the front of the grid. Troy Bayliss starts from pole position ahead of Troy Herfoss and Brian Starring on the front row of the grid. The revs rise and we are away. Great start from Bayliss and not a good start from Troy Herfoss. He's been swallowed up by the 2nd row of the grid as they make their way down towards turn 1 for the first time. And Josh Waters has got a pretty good start as well on bike number 1. And he comes down, he'll take up the running in 3rd place behind Brian Starring, but Bayliss leads them through Motul Corner for the first time.
I saw Herfoss there. He shot up the inside, so that was a great move by him up the inside to move himself forward a few spots that he lost off the line. But Brian Starring is right where he needs to be now. Josh Waters, he does not want to go backwards for here. Let's hope that they've got that GSXR sorted.
And 4th place, Arthur Cece's on board bike number 61. Troy Herfoss right behind him, trying to get up the inside. I think Herfoss may have done it to move up into 4th place now, pushing one of our leading privateers out of the way as he makes his way through on the Penrite Oils Honda.
Yeah, good move there by Troy Herfoss. He needs to get up near the front sooner. He was back in race 1 and he got there just that lap too late, so keep an eye on Herfoss. He knows that he has to strive to get to the front sooner rather than later in this one.
Well, Arthur Cece's about to be mugged by Wayne Maxwell, who's on a charge as well on board bike number 47. The former Australian Superbike champion trying to make his way forward now, but he's got a very rapid privateer Suzuki in front of him. I'll tell you what, there's nothing wrong with the power out of Arthur Cece's machine, bike number 61, as he managed to stay ahead of the factory Yamaha of Wayne Maxwell all the way down one of the longest straights we have in Australia. Look at Herfoss. Look at the way he's able to just put that Penrite Oils Honda anywhere on the track and make his way past Josh Waters, and Brian Starring has now got a big target on his back.
Yeah, these are Herfoss conditions out there at the moment. It's hot and it's greasy, and that's when that Honda works at its best. Bayliss needs to get as far away from that chasing group as they can. And I'll tell you what, the man in 2nd place, Brian Starring, knows that he's got trouble when he looks over his shoulder and sees the number 17 machine behind him.
Well, and also too, Arthur Cece still managing to hold off Maxwell, and right behind Wayne Maxwell is Mark Chiodo in 7th place, Daniel Falzon in 8th, Glenn Allerton in 9th, Al Phillips rounds out the top 10.
Bayliss a little bit wide there. Bayliss went a little bit wide there. I reckon his foot come off the peg, and interesting to see. Looks like we've had a crasher. Is that Matty Walters that may have just crashed out in the early part of this race?
Yeah,
Keeping on it. Oh, bit of a moment there from one of the factory Suzuki team's riders too. Not sure if it's Chiodo or Waters, but bit of rear wheel movement there.
Yeah, so Matt Walters actually crashed up at turn 6. Here's a replay of it now as the field comes through. We should see a green Kawasaki just crashing out of the distance back there, and there he goes. Looks like he got tangled up with a few other riders. Was that Glenn Scott, I think, as well, might have been involved in that one as well?
You can see there that Glenn Scott was going to get, there was something wrong with his bike. He was trying to get it running again. His bike had stalled or something, so something not right there with Glenn Scott's machine. Maybe that caused the incident. We'll find out afterwards, I'm sure. But meanwhile, back up front, it's Brian Starring, he knows he's under pressure. He says he's made some changes to his bike. Well, he better make it work, because Herfoss is looking up the inside, and he can't get it done, but nearly through that really fast-flowing YMI section in the last sector of this circuit.
But remember what Brian Starring said in the post-race interviews. His bike was good for a lap time, but it wasn't good in the battle. But that's what they've made the changes to try and address. And at the moment, he's got a very determined and hard-charging Troy Herfoss on the number 17 Penrite Oils Honda, starting to try and make a way past. Well, we said before in race number 1 that Herfoss didn't seem to be able to pull out of the slipstream. I think he might have been playing a little bit of cat and mouse games with Brian Starring, because his bike is clearly a match for top speed with the BC Performance Kawasaki. And as we know, this new Honda is much faster than the previous model it replaced.
And funnily enough, the new Honda came online at this meeting last year, so it's celebrating its birthday here now. It's been out and on the track here, the new CBR 1000 with lots of electronic trickery that the old one didn't have, and a lot more speed. Last year, they got second, and I'll tell you what, they'll be going for one place higher this time round.
Well, let's go down to Emma for an update from the pits.
Yeah, just watching on here with Dale Breed from Team Suzuki X-Star, mate. He had a pretty good start. He was up in 3rd, just moved down to 4th. It would be so good to see him get a podium.
Yeah, look, we've obviously had a mixed event this weekend, but certainly wasn't what we had last year. But you know, we've gradually made improvements with the bike, and Josh definitely feels more comfortable. I think you know, you're looking at his lap times now. He's a lot more competitive in this race than he was in race 1. So fingers crossed we can get him on that step somewhere. Cool, thanks.
Yeah, Josh Waters actually just set his fastest lap of the race at 106.529, and he actually is making pace about the same time as the people that are around him on track, and he's not starting to drop back like we saw him in race number 1. But it is still Troy Bayliss that leads by 0.6 of a second over Troy Herfoss, the man that is the fastest man on track. Just set the fastest lap of the race at 105.904, and that could very well be a new lap record for Troy Herfoss at 105.986, the previous lap record for Josh Waters. So Troy Herfoss, the new lap record holder at Darwin's Hidden Valley.
Absolutely impressive lap time, especially in these stifling conditions out there. It's really hot, probably some of the hottest conditions we've had all weekend, but we know that that is when that Honda works at its best, and we've been able to see the way that he has been able to keep those tight lines. And
I have to say, you picked it, Steve Martin. You said yesterday afternoon, when the track conditions were hot, Troy Herfoss was the only man that could dip into the 105s, and he's done it again with a 105.904 to take that new lap record, and at the same time close the gap down to Troy Bayliss, who currently leads by 0.755 of a second, so he's taken back nearly half a second.
Well, Bayliss isn't too shabby out there either. He's also dipped into the 105.9, so pretty impressive for him. And we've just seen Brian Starring do a 106.0, so whatever the changes they made to that bike, they seem to be working.
And also on that last lap, Bayliss was actually responded to Herfoss's lap record, and he's gone 1/10 of a second faster. So a 106 flat on the last lap for Troy Bayliss to back up a 105.9.
That's not bad going, is it, for an old bloke, so they say. But I'll tell you what, we heard him on the grid at the start of this one saying that it feels like the good old days, and I do not doubt him at the moment. He seems to be absolutely on fire. There's Glenn Allerton with the next-gen BMW S1000 RR having a good battle out there as well with Daniel Falzon. Daniel Falzon has probably had a weekend that he doesn't want to remember. Perhaps he wants to forget. He's had a couple of crashes. His body's a bit bruised. I think he just needs to get to the end of this one.
Well, remember too that Daniel Falzon was the man that replaced Glenn Allerton in the factory Yamaha team this year, so Allerton on the BMW would love nothing more than to overtake bike number 25 and move up into a 6th position. And Wayne Maxwell is a little bit ahead of them in position 5 on board bike number 47. You can see he's not in that shot. There he is up the road a little bit, and Maxwell is actually trying to stay right onto the back of Josh Waters' Team Suzuki X-Star Australia machine. But this battle between Allerton and Falzon, well, there's a lot more at stake than just a position on the road here.
Yeah, absolutely. probably not the best of buddies out there. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe you know better than me, Phil, but you know, I know that Alan was a little bit miffed, but the good news for him is he's back to his old family, a place where he's won plenty of championships in the past, the BMW. It's a bike that he loves and a bike that he's getting his confidence back on, and without doubt, we're sure that he's going to do a good job and get back on the podium before the end of the year. But back out front, it seems to be these two guys in a race of their own, because Brian Starring has definitely dropped off the back of that group now.
Well, on the last lap, Bayliss was 0.4 of a second slower than Herfoss. On the lap that they have just completed...
Oh, we've got a faller.
I think that's Mitch Rees on board bike number 94. Has crashed out at KTM corner. On the last lap, Troy Herfoss was half a second faster than Troy Bayliss. So they're topsy-turving with Herfoss then a 106 flat and Bayliss a 106.5.
Saw Alex Phillips there in a battle as well with Arthur Cece's just in front of him. Evan Bowles is still in this one too. Sloane Frost is having a good race too with Kyle Buckley. This is a track where Kyle Buckley didn't have a lot of luck last year. He ended up having a crash with one of the riders, with Daniel Falzon. So unfortunately for him, it's good to see him back out on track. But there is that crash of Rees, Damon Rees on his Honda CBR, just lost the front into that final corner, the KTM curve here. It's caught a lot of people out this weekend, hasn't it, Phil?
Certainly has. Hasn't caught these two out, though. They make their way through KTM corner and out onto the straight. There is literally nothing between these two now. I think Herfoss has pulled back more ground on this last lap. I tell you what, the Desmo Sport Ducati 1299 final edition is not slow in a straight line either. As they came across the line, there was 1/10 of a second in their lap times, and there was 1/10 of a second lead for Troy Bayliss over Troy Herfoss.
Nice.
0.152 of a second, in fact.
I saw you nearly pull out of that comment there when Troy Herfoss came out and nearly went past the slipstream. So Herfoss is working on a plan, a big plan. He's going to need one to catch Troy Bayliss, and he needs to do it now. Look at the different lines they take through there. Bayliss is taking the big wide sweeping line, and Herfoss has still got plenty of grip on the lean angle. He's able to take much shorter, tighter lines on that Honda. Something that, especially in this heat, you know, like having a bit of a look over the shoulder there, Bayliss. Yes, you do have company.
And once again, just like race one at round one of the championship at Phillip Island, it is the two Troys battling for lead. The two Troys both on red bikes. The two Troys that have won championships. Troy Herfoss, an Australian champion. Troy Bayliss, 3 times World Superbike champion, also BSB champion, but he has never won an Australian Superbike championship, and he is desperate to try and do it in 2018. He scored his first race win in race number 1, and he is determined as hell to try and take out race number 2 as well. But at the moment, he's got bike number 17 glued to the ducktail of the 1299 final edition.
If we look at the results from last year, as we've got another faller there.
That's Phil Char on board bike number 11, I think it is, on board the Aprilia.
Yeah, his RSV4 down the road. If we look at the results from last year, we had a double in the 600 class and a double in the Superbike class. Are we going to see another double? It seems to be the place for it.
Well, we've seen the double in Supersport already, with Crew Halliday taking pole position and 2 race wins. And Troy Bayliss comes round now. This will be coming round to complete 10 laps of the 18-lap journey. So we're only just over half race distance. And the top 2 have managed to get away a little bit from Brian Starring.
I reckon that Starring had made some sort of mistake and lost all of that time, because he's still 1 or 2 tenths of a second per lap quicker than the 2 guys in front at the moment. So
and he's been consistent that the last 1 or 2 laps, but he's only taken back a tenth at a time. And, well, then again, Steve, he's got 8 laps to go, and he's only, 1.2 seconds back from our second place man, Troy Herfoss. Time for an update from Emma.
Guys, just with Dion from Penrite Honda Racing Team. Look, it's no doubt that he's fast. He could possibly come second again, but you're not going to be happy with second, are you?
No, I'm not going to be happy. I don't think Troy will be happy either. He's hungry for the win, and he's gonna send it into this race, that's for sure.
Some tough battles out there. Good luck, mate.
Thank you.
These guys with the big trucks, Phil, like the Team Hondas and that, they don't like going home with the smaller second place trophies. They get the big trucks to take the big first place trophies home, and I'm sure that that's on the mind of the team owner down there, Dion Coote, with the Penrite Honda team.
Yeah, but when you have a think about it, Troy Herfoss takes the win in this second race. Guess who will still take the overall round victory if he finishes in second place?
Yeah.
It will be Troy Bayliss, courtesy of the pole position point and that will be a 1-point victory. And from what I've seen, it is a pretty epic championship trophy to be taking home from the Northern Territory.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be absolutely key to one of these guys for sure, but I know that Bayliss wants this probably more than any other race that he's been in. He is so hungry. Can you imagine? Oh, he's run wide there though. Is that allowed number 17, Troy Herfoss, a bit of a moment to get up the inside? No.
What's been miraculous about Troy Bayliss this weekend is if he runs wide, he just seems to be able to put the bike back on the X area of the track to try and get the drive out of the corner. I saw it down at turn 1 when I was watching on Friday afternoon and again yesterday afternoon, and he's looking more determined than anything else, but at the same time he looks to be able to make up for small errors on the way that the bike's handling at the moment, and he seems to have a great confidence to be able to put the bike anywhere he needs.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been a lot of development done to the bike as well since the last round. I mean, Troy is the sort of rider that knows what he wants and what he needs, and they've given him that now, and he's proven that if he's got what he wants, he can go forward. They've put a new exhaust system on the bike as well. That's given him a few more horsepower, and I know Paul Free and Ben Henry down there are probably, along with Byron Draper, they're probably sitting in the pit box right now feeling reasonably confident that he can pull this one off.
Well, I reckon at the moment that Troy Herfoss is just sitting there coming up with a Baldrick plan, a plan that is so cunning that maybe not even Troy Bayliss will be able to outsmart him on the last couple of laps, because for the last few laps, he has been sitting 0.2 of a second off Troy Bayliss's ducktail. The gap hasn't changed. The lap times are pretty much identical. There is literally hundredths of a second between their lap times, lap after lap. And we're coming round now to complete the 13th of 18 laps. So we're getting down now to the dying stages of this race, and tactics will really start to come into play. It's not all about outright speed now. It's more about tactics and where you're positioning your bike on the track.
And Herfoss has got a few more things to worry about than the man in front as well. Bayliss just wants to win the race and go home with the trophy, but Herfoss has got a championship to worry about. He leads the championship at the moment, and if he was to have contact and fall off or have an issue or run off the track, it wouldn't be good for him. So he has to get past Bayliss to win the race, but he has to do it smoothly. So there's a lot at stake for Troy Herfoss here. He can't afford to make a mistake.
Well, he's got a 40-plus point lead in the championship now, Troy Herfoss.
Oh, yeah, he can afford to make a mistake.
Oh, sorry, 20-plus point lead.
20-plus point.
Yeah, I need to get the abacus recalibrated,
okay.
Steve, because...
in that case, he can't afford to make a mistake.
Yeah, 158 to 180.
But here he goes. Bayliss has
Herfoss.
made a mistake. Bayliss has made a mistake. He's run wide, and Herfoss has said, right, I'm going through. Now we're going to see. He didn't get through. Bayliss accelerated out of there like nothing.
But exactly what I said. He seems to make a mistake, but he can just get the bike back on track where he needs. And Herfoss is now back into the lead. Bayliss back into second place.
Oh my goodness, this is good.
I think we're going to be in for about 4.5 laps of this as they come round now to complete 14 laps. 4 laps to go as they come across the start-finish line. Let's have a replay of that, because that was exceptional racing action. We saw 3 changes of position in only a couple of corners, from the hairpin around to the final area of the track. As they go across the line, it is still Herfoss that leads by 1/10 of a second. Their lap times on that last lap, probably the biggest that they've been. Here's a replay. Bayliss gets into the corner up at the YMF hairpin, foot off the peg, runs wide. Herfoss comes up the inside. Now look at Bayliss. Stops it, turns it, gasses it straight out, and goes back into the lead.
Oh, what a manoeuvre, but it's Troy Herfoss back out in front now with Bayliss in second position. Now he's the man that has to figure out a way past. He needs to smooth it down. He needs to try and save something for the last couple of laps of this race, but Herfoss now, you can see the movement there in the front of Bayliss. He looks like he's having some sort of front end issue there, a lack of grip. That was definitely what the problem was when he was heading into the hairpin, the YMF hairpin, the lap before.
Yeah, it looked like he's definitely having a few issues on the front end there. The front end almost tucked on him as he came through the hairpin on that occasion. Herfoss doesn't seem to be having any such drama as he makes his way out onto the straight. Comes around to complete 15 laps, 3 laps to go. Bayliss tucks down. We've seen that the 1299 final edition Desmo Sport Ducati has certainly got plenty of top speed. I don't think he's going to be able to make up the distance as they come down in towards turn 1, though. It is Herfoss. Look how tidy Herfoss is getting in there so late on the brakes. But Bayliss is caught right up onto the back again and is almost sitting on the ducktail of the Penrite Honda as they make their way up through Yamaha, then through AGV and up to the Pirelli corner.
This is Bayliss' sector. This is where he's really, really fast. And look at him, he's caught right up to the back now of the number 17 of Troy Herfoss. He's right there, but Herfoss, good drive out of Pirelli there.
Let's have a look at the front end of Bayliss's bike. Looks like he didn't have the confidence to stick it in there again. He's lost a bit of distance at the hairpin as we go back to this battle between Al Phillips and Kyle Buckley.
So Yeah, it's good to see Al Phillips now just battling into the top 10. This is the battle for the top 10. Kyle Buckley in 11th, Sloane Frost just behind him, and Brad Swallow having a good run too. Glenn Scott back in 14th. So Al Phillips with a good result. Qualified 16th. Oh no, Bayliss is off the track. Bayliss is off the track. We said he was having trouble with the front end, and that has put paid to the double win that he was going to have here. He is now just going to be trying to get a podium if he can.
He's back to third place. That could also mean that Troy Herfoss could take the race win and the round win. Bayliss will finish in third position. So let's have a look what happened here. He just straight lined it up. He's at YMI corner. Yeah, he was lucky to keep the bike actually off the tyre wall there and get back on track. Oh, a laundry-inducing moment for the three-time Superbike World Champion.
How he did that and stayed on the track is incredible. In third position.
Well, all those years at the Troy Bayliss Classic Flat Track event probably came into their own there, but it is now Herfoss that leads. Herfoss leads. Brian Starring is in second place and Bayliss back into third. He wanted the win. He wanted it so desperately he was willing to push past 100%.
And it's good news for Herfoss though, because he has got a massive lead now. 3.85 seconds, Troy Herfoss. He can cruise to the finish line.
Well, Troy Bayliss' last lap was a 13.6, including a tour of the gravel trap up there at the YMI corner, turn 10.
Still pretty quick.
I reckon most people are pretty happy with that sort of lap time. Battle between Al Phillips, Kyle Buckley and Sloane Frost is still on in earnest as the riders will come round to get the last lap board at the completion of this lap. There goes our race leader, Troy Herfoss. He is on his last tour of the Hidden Valley Raceway. So just over 2 kilometres to go now for Brian Starring and Troy Herfoss in the lead of this race.
And there is the number 25, of course, of
Falzon gone past.
Yeah, Falzon has gone past. Perhaps there's some issue.
So Maxwell is up into third place, Glenn Allerton into fourth. So Bayliss slipping back down the field is currently sitting in 7th position.
He must have some sort of major issue there because he was comfortably back in. But you know what could have happened? He could have gone into turn 1 with dirt all over his tyres and nearly fallen off again, you know, because he went into the dirt and probably didn't get much of a chance to scrub him until he went flat out to turn 1 and had another moment.
And back onto the straight because...
let's see if we can see anything in the way that he's moving. But meanwhile, this man on the last lap is just cruising to victory.
And not only is he cruising to victory, he's also cruising to a round victory as well. Troy Herfoss comes to the line, final lap of the second YMI Superbike class, and he's even got time to stop and celebrate Troy Herfoss as he comes across the line and takes the race win. Brian Starring in second place for the BC Performance Kawasaki team, and Wayne Maxwell will just hold off his former teammate Glenn Allerton for the last place on the podium. Maxwell punches the air, but you've got a feel for Troy Bayliss. Glenn Allerton finished in 4th, Waters in 5th, Falzon in 6th, and Troy Bayliss, after leading so many laps, unfortunately finishes back in 7th position on the Desmo Sport Ducati.
Yeah, interesting to see what sort of issue Troy had there because he definitely dropped off the pace by a couple of seconds a lap in those last couple of results. But what a race for Troy Herfoss, and that has cemented his championship lead, increased it, and Wayne Maxwell, what a save. I mean, he was nowhere in the race, but worked his way forward, and it's a result that he needed to get too. Brian Starring with the Kawasaki as well. Excellent job by him. Still need to find a little bit, 3.2 off of the leader, over the line, and then, you know, I take my hat off to Glenn Allerton. Glenn Allerton, what a result, 4th position. Best result that I think he's had on the next-gen bike.
Yeah, 4th and 5th for Allerton over the weekend, but Herfoss takes the win by 1.14 seconds over Brian Starring. Wayne Maxwell on the podium as well, his first podium since the last round at the Ben Motorsport Park. Glenn Allerton in 4th place, Josh Waters in 5th. Unfortunately, it wasn't the return to Darwin that he was looking for. Falzon in 6th place, Troy Bayliss in 7th. Mark Chiodo, a great result from him, our leading rookie, in 8th place. Arthur Cece's in 9th, and Al Phillips rounded out the top 10 on board his Suzuki.
Yeah, that was an incredible result by them. Of course, number 83, Cole Buckley took 11th position, Sloane Frost in 12th, Glenn Scott on his return 13th, 14th was Brad Swallow, Ted Collins in 15th, Mitch Levy was out there in 16th, Sam Lambert, Mitch Reeves, and then of course the South Australian Evan Biles, who finished and rounded out the field. It was an awesome result overall, Phil, and I'll tell you what, that was a pretty exciting race.
We've just seen an epic race 2 for the YMI Superbike class. Time to hear from our top 3.
Big indeed, Phil, here with third position, Wayne Maxwell. I don't know where you came from in that race, mate, but well done. This is actually your 8th podium for the season. Fantastic.
Yeah, look, we got pretty lucky then with TB making a mistake, and I got held up at the start and the other guys are gone, so I just had to work my way past Josh and got into a bit of a rhythm and just plus zero for, about 15 laps, 14 laps. It's a hard slog, but we got on the podium. Massive congrats to all the guys at the Yamaha racing team. We were struggling on Thursday, Friday, so happy to finish up with a podium and get a little bit out of jail and not lose so many points to Troy.
It's had hot out there, right?
Yeah, it's definitely hot. And now it's time to relax, enjoy the last of Darwin before heading back to Melbourne.
Enjoy the after party. Thanks, Wayno.
Thank you.
Second position, Brian Starring from Kawasaki BC Performance. Was that a smile I saw earlier? Well done. Second position. Got to be happy with another podium.
I am, but I guess to be a little bit self-critical, we got to be lucky with Troy coming out there. I was just bringing it home in that second race. I didn't have the pace to run with the front two, so yeah, look, overall we've had a super positive weekend, but a little bit disappointing we couldn't challenge for the race win at the front. Anyway, the team have done a fantastic job all weekend. We improved the bike the whole time, and yeah, big thanks to Kawasaki BC Performance and to Barry Sweet, Wallace Risk, and Consent to Go. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Well done. And ladies and gentlemen, in first position, fantastic racing. You really pushed hard for that one, Troy. Deserved the win, and you're still sitting in first position in that championship.
That was epic. Like I said at the start of the year, racing with Troy is just different. Although it's becoming very normal now, unfortunately for us. But it was a good battle. He got the start and he cottoned on to what was going on there midway through, and we've had such similar pace all weekend, and we're extremely strong in certain different parts of the track. And I just didn't want him to see because in the first race he got me and I thought I had it, but epic race. I hope everything's okay with Troy, and a big congratulations to the Penrite Honda Racing team and all my sponsors. And I want to say a special happy birthday to Daryl Griffiths, the owner of Shots Nutrition. It's just ironic that we're at the hardest race of the year, and I'm glad to have him on board.
Enjoy the champagne.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, your race winner for YMF Superbikes, race number 2, Troy Herfoss.
The next round of the championship is Morgan Park Raceway in Queensland, August 17 to 19. And that will be an extremely exciting round with Troy Bayliss certainly back in the hunt for race victories, and Troy Herfoss, who was strong there last year, leading the championship going in. Can Josh Waters get his championship back on track? Can Wayne Maxwell make a last-minute charge towards the championship? There's lots of questions that will hopefully start to get answered at the next round of the championship, round 5 on August 17 to 19. Of course, if you can't make it to Morgan Park Raceway, keep up to date with all of the action at asbk.com.au. But Motorcycling Australia is not just about road racing. Plenty of other events coming up. The Australian Classic Dirt Track Championship, July 7 in Brisbane in Queensland. The Australian Motocross Nationals, round 7 and 8, July 14 from Ranch MX in New South Wales. And the Australian Post-Classic Motocross Championship, July 21 and 22 at the Awaba Motocross Track in New South Wales. For more details, go to ma.org.au. But let's go down to Emma and Steve and find out what's happening down there in pit lane and wrap up the show.
We hope to see you at our next round, everyone. Morgan Park Raceway. That's in August, the 17th to the 19th. Make sure in the meantime you stay up to date with everything ASBK at asbk.com.au. Thank you to everyone behind the scenes, to Bill Harlem and to you, Steve Martin. It's been a fantastic weekend in sunny Darwin. We really thank you all at home for joining us. We hope to see you next time.